Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jackson.
From Top Notch Sports. Today, we're going to be going over the Pittsburgh Steelers offseason salary review, where we discuss the Pittsburgh Steelers salary and what moves they might be making this offseason. Again, a team that is definitely in financial trouble, have an aging roster, but this team was so close this year to really making a push. Again, a couple of wins. The season that went overall well, but we ultimately knew that. I at least knew that. I didn't think this team was going to win the Super Bowl, and Jackson did the same. So they're going to have to either retool this year and win or completely rebuild, and we'll show you guys in this video. You guys get a little special bonus, both options. So let's go right into the first slide where Jackson will explain you what this means.
All right, thank you, Nick. So you see in the top left corner, like Nick just said, this team is in financial trouble. They're negative $24.6 million in the hole. And again, remember, the red is you're cutting and you're going to lose cap. Green, you're cutting and you're gaining some cap. But again, this team is an aging roster. And then when you think of age, first thing I'm going to point out is Big Ben Roethlisberger. He's definitely getting up there in age. They're losing Marquise Pouncey due to retirement, so that really takes a big toll on the offensive line. But I want to take a look at this defense here. And this defense is arguably one of the best defenses in the league. TJ Watt, who could most likely win Defensive Player of the Year this year. Devin Bush, again, he pretty sure he hurt himself midseason, but he's a very solid linebacker. Minkah Fitzpatrick, ever since he was traded to the Steelers, he's done nothing but make plays on this team. Steven Nelson and Joe Hayden, very solid cornerbacks. Terrell Edmonds, another solid safety. This team definitely struggles on the offensive side of the ball. Again, this offensive line is definitely getting old, and it's really struggling. David DeCastro, I'm pretty sure he's getting up there in age. We got a couple of young, no-name pieces out here on this line right now. Wide receiver-wise, Deontay Johnson, he's solid, but he drops the ball a lot. Same thing with Eric Ebron. He's got a catching problem. Chase Claypool, again, he showed a lot of signs of greatness this year. I really have high hopes for him. This team, again, they can get things done. It's just whether they make the right moves or not.
Absolutely. When you look at this team, you got to really start weighing out some options as you see some of the big contracts. One Big Ben, right, $19 million. Eric Ebron, $6 million. This guy's coming back for sure. He had a heck of a year. You got Joe Hayden at $12.86 million. Again, had a really good year. So you got to understand that, is he worth $12.86 million in cap? Of course, TJ Watt is, but is Joe Hayden? Vince Williams, $4 million, right? And Steven Nelson, $8.25 million. Another notable mention that we missed out on was James Washington. This guy is probably as fine as they come with hands. Really great hands. Goes up, catches the contested balls. Really good player. As Jackson said, this offensive line is terrible. Left tackle is uncertain for sure. Left guard, Kevin Dotson, he's not terrible. He's actually, out of the five here, he's probably one of the better ones. Jones, he's you don't want him there. David Castro is the best one. And they got Okafor, who, again, you really probably don't want as your starting right tackle this season. So this team is definitely in an interesting situation, and they're going to have to make moves. But in the negative, in the hole, in the cap space, it's not going to let them. So let's go out to our first situation where they're going to play it out. But let's first mention their notable losses. So, again, the last screen, this screen shows you who's currently under contract. These are the people that you can cut and save, and if you cut a red, you lose money. So you're only going to cut the people that you save. So right now, these are the current people under contract, and this slide are the current people that you're going to be losing. And unfortunately, you're probably going to lose all of them because you guys are negatively in the hole. Jackson, go ahead, read it off.
So I say one of the biggest names on this list right here, Bud Dupree. He had a ACL injury, I'm pretty sure, in the mid-season. But again, he's a great player for this team. He's an edge. His expected contract's a 1-year, $10 million deal. Alejandro Villanueva, left tackle. His expected contract's 3 years, $45 million. Played 100% of the snaps. That's a big loss at the tackle position. Avery Williamson, linebacker you guys traded at the deadline. His expected contract's 1 year, $3 million. He played 61.4% of the snaps. You're losing a guard/tackle, Matt Filer. You're losing another cornerback in Mike Hilton. His expected contract is 3 years, $12 million. He played about 45% of the snaps. Tyson Lulu, a D tackle. His expected contract is 1 year, $2.5 million. He played 43.6% of the snaps. Juju Smith-Schuster, a very solid wide receiver for you guys. His expected contract is 4 years, $68 million. He played 84.1% of the snaps. Cameron Sutton, another cornerback. His expected contract is 1 year, $2.8 million. He played about 53.2% of the snaps. Losing a running back in James Conner. His expected contract is 3 years, $20 million. He played about 51.1% of the snaps. Losing another linebacker in Robert Spillane. His expected contract is 3 year, $3.6 million. He played about 36.7% of snaps. And you're losing a very solid center, Marquise Pouncey, due to retirement. He played about 84.2% of this team's snaps.
Absolutely. And again, when we look at these players, really what you're losing, I mean, you're losing Bud Dupree. That's going to hurt you. You got Alex Highsmith to replace him. Again, we'll see what Alex Highsmith can do. But what you're really losing is your offensive line. Villanueva, Matt Filer, and between those two pieces, and Marquise Pouncey due to retirement, that's unfortunate. And right now, since you're negatively in the cap, we're going to go to the next slide and show you what we truly think you guys are going to probably be expected to do in a realistic situation. But you're also losing Juju Smith-Schuster. But again, Pittsburgh is a wide receiver making machine. This team can get anybody. I mean, Deontay Johnson was a third-round pick, turned him into a stud, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. Guy has dropping issues, but Juju, losing him is going to hurt, but it's not going to hurt you that much because you guys know how to produce receivers, as we've seen over the years. So let's go into the next slide, and I'm going to explain this to you. Here's the play it out scenario, okay? You have estimated cap space is $24.6 million. Let's say you cut Vince Williams to save $4 million. You're still negative $20.6 million estimated cap space available. We got you signing nobody because if you're negative 20.6, you can't sign nobody. So your estimated remaining cap is negative $20.6 million, and your team needs a running back, left tackle, right tackle, center, weak linebacker, middle linebacker, and cornerback. I projected 3 guys that you guys can draft in this year's draft. Running back Najee Harris in the first round, left tackle Jack Carmen in the second round, and middle linebacker Baron Browning in the third round. And these 3 guys, me and Jackson just watched a little bit of film on them a little bit before doing this video. Najee Harris is an absolute stud. People say, don't draft a running back in the first round. You guys need a running back. I'm sorry. It's time that Pittsburgh Steelers get a running back that is manageable and that can play really good. Najee Harris can get it done any way you want him to get it done. Jack Carmen from Clemson, this kid is a bear. Not the greatest guy in the passing, pass blocking, not very flexible around the hips, but he is a all-in guy. He's going to go in and in run situations. He is going to maul people. He's an absolute bear. If you tell him to plow forward, he's going to hit people until that whistle blows. Really good option at left tackle for you guys. Again, not great at edge rushers. Fast guys coming off the edge, probably going to have a little bit of a trouble with. But, I mean, if you're doing more of a power rusher, I think Jack Carmen might be able to handle him. Again, someone that you didn't develop, really your draft pick, you need a left tackle. Baron Browning, this is a guy that you guys are going to want to get. He can stop the run, and he's really good at quarterback spying quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, he can probably almost single-handedly stop him from running up the middle. Again, if Jackson decides to take it to the outside or take it to the left or right side, he might not be able to be an impact maker, but that's why you got someone like Devin Bush. But again, Baron Browning is a guy that if Lamar Jackson is in the pocket and he needs to step up, Baron Browning is amazing at stepping up and hitting the quarterback. Not only hitting the quarterback, he's great at just really covering the entire field. He can cover the whole field, but again, just stopping Lamar Jackson would be his main job, and I think he can do that. If you didn't shut down Lamar, that's one huge stop in that division. Really good at run stuffing too. So that's our projected thing. You can draft a tackle, draft a center, draft a weak side linebacker, and draft a cornerback in this scenario. Again, I can go on and on about who you can draft, but these are 3 names that you can potentially draft that can make an impact on day one. Let's get into the next picture right here, this next slide. Jackson, explain to them what this shows.
So we see right here, we're going to plug in these dudes right here. Najee Harris, Jack Carmen, Baron Browning, the guys in blue. Those are going to be the guys we drafted. Again, Baron Browning, you're going to want him on this team to contain Lamar Jackson. Like Nick said, Jack Carmen, we've just watched some film on him. He's a very solid left tackle. And then Najee Harris, we all know what he does. He's very elusive. He can make plays. And then the guys in yellow right now, T. Gray Scales, Jaron Jones, Okafor, and Big Ben Roethlisberger. Those guys are going to be placeholders right now. Like we said, we're going to draft a center. We're going to draft the right tackle and draft a weak linebacker for TJ Scales, Jaron Jones, and Okafor right here. And then again, Big Ben, we highlighted him in yellow for one reason only. He's a guy that still could be potentially retiring this offseason. And again, he's also getting up there in age. So he's going to be a guy you guys are like probably right now you guys are going to be looking for a replacement for him, at least in this next year. This team, again, this is the played out mode. This is a really, really solid defense. Again, like I said in the first slide, one of the best in the league. This offense, I mean, Jack Carman single-handedly makes this offensive line better. And then if you draft a center and a right tackle, this offensive line is going to go from putrid in the first slide to workable in this on this slide. And then again, with this solid offensive line, Najee Harris is going to do really good for you guys. Chase Claypool, James Washington, Deontay Johnson. Like Nick said, this Pittsburgh Steelers, they make wide receivers out of nothing. Deontay Johnson, he was nothing. Now he's a stud. Chase Claypool, again, second-round draft pick, is going to be your number one receiver. And then James Washington, again, he's got great hands. And then Eric Ebron had a really, really solid year for you guys. I really do like this team. Again, I feel like this team is probably Super Bowl or bust at this point, especially if this is Big Ben Roethlisberger's last year in his career. So, yeah, I mean, that's all I got here, but I hope this team can win some games.
Absolutely. So this slide, again, is showing play it out. You're still negative 20.6 million in the hole after cutting Vince Williams. And you're replacing with Baron Browning, who I think can do a phenomenal job. Your cornerbacks are still good with Steven Nelson and Joe Hayden. You're not making any cuts there. Your receiving core is great. Jadson said, right, your offensive line is immediately improving. Maybe you draft a center right tackle. Again, if you draft a center right tackle, you can't expect them to do great in year one. So again, this team's kind of struggling. And can they win with this roster? Let us know what you think if they can win with this roster. As we go into the next thing, a total hypothetical. This is not probably realistic. Big Ben's probably coming back after we saw the offensive coordinator signing. That's probably who Big Ben wanted. Probably going to do it one more year. But again, this team right here, in my opinion, it all comes down to, can Big Ben carry this team to the Super Bowl? I don't think so. So let's go into the next slide that shows complete rebuild mode. Okay, this was really my idea. This is an idea, not realistic, but let's have fun with it. Estimated cap space, negative 24.6. You cut Vince Williams. Maybe you don't cut Big Ben, but maybe he retires. You save $19 million. You cut Joe Hayden. You save $12.86 million. And you cut Steven Nelson. You save $8.25 million. Now you're just like, what the hell? You're cutting both our cornerbacks. Look, I think you guys can get better value for cornerbacks. I know Joe Hayden played great. I know Steven Nelson played pretty solid. But let's say you cut these two fellas. Now you're positive $19.51 million, right? So what are you going to do with that? Well, you can bring back Matt Filer for a 2-year, $12 million deal. You can bring back Robert Spillane as a placeholder for right now for 3-year, $3.6 million. And you can make your first signing, Shaquille Griffin, for a 4-year, $40 million deal worth $10 million cap hit, which puts you at about $17.2 million in total cost. That will leave you with $2.3 million in estimated remaining cap. Now you're like, well, we just got rid of 2 great corners or 2 good corners for Shaquille Griffin. No, not just Shaquille Griffin. You're bringing in an offensive lineman that is proven. I mean, Matt Filer can still be pretty solid for you guys right now. So now let's see how we can address the team needs. Well, you can draft Najee Harris. You can draft Jackson Carman still. You can re-sign Matt Filer for the right tackle position. You can draft a center. You can re-sign Robert Spillane for your weak side linebacker, even though he's more strong side. You guys can figure out where you guys want to play him. Your middle linebacker, you can still draft Baron Browning. And at your cornerback, you can bring in Shaquille Griffin, who I think is honestly probably a better cornerback, a younger cornerback that you can lock up for 4 years for less than you could have Joe Hayden right now for. So again, this is getting younger. This is getting stronger for years to come. Let's see now what the team will look like, as I'll have Jackson explain to you guys this slide. Go ahead, Jackson.
So again, this team looks a lot more fun. You see way more colors and all that. It just looks like a better team in general. Again, Shaquille Griffin, we just cut Steven Nelson and Joe Hayden. But again, Shaquille Griffin's younger, and I honestly think he's better. James Pierre, again, he was, I'm pretty sure he was a rookie, Nick, last year.
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Again, you slide him in at the other side corner, and then Robert Spillane, you get him cheap. He then fills that linebacker position immediately. Put him next to Baron Browning and Devin Bush. Jackson Carman, you still have Najee Harris, and then instead of drafting a right tackle, probably in the later rounds, like the 5th, 6th round, you get a Matt Filer who's proven. Still want to draft a center, but now with Big Ben retiring, we have Mason Rudolph. Again, you guys just did sign Dwayne Haskins, so that might be a quarterback battle there. This team, honestly, I've looked at it. I really do like this team a lot better, honestly. You're building for the future, and honestly, this team still can win games. Mike Tomlin, again, he's a guy that's never went below 500. in his coaching career. So he knows how to win with anyone. I mean, look what he did last year without Big Ben Roethlisberger, with Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph. I mean, he can win games. This defense is still very good. It's honestly it's probably better than it was now with Shaq Griffin and James Pierre. I mean, this defense can single-handedly win you a game. And then if you just have an offense that can put up a couple touchdowns again, this team can win 12 games, 11 games, and make the playoffs.
Absolutely. And again, I'm not saying Mason Rudolph's no Big Ben Roethlisberger, because he's not. But Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins give you young blood, right? I don't want to see Big Ben go. I love Big Ben, to be honest with you. But it's almost his time to go. And for $20 million that you can save, that's going to open up your entire offense. Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins, all they got to do is come in and fill in. If they can do that for you guys and they can do a decent job, Najee Harris comes in. You had to bring back Matt Filer. Now this offensive line from the last slide, let's go back real fast. From this slide, right, where it's a little scary, where you got Okafor and Jones. Now you got just Jones that you got to worry about. And now this offensive line is decently solid. Now, instead of Big Ben, right, you're going to have Mason Rudolph. That's probably honestly a decline. I'm going to be honest with you. Your offense goes up, your quarterback goes down. But what else do you get to do? Well, I know your cornerback, people are going to say, well, Joe Hayden's been playing great. Steven Nelson's been playing great. That's fine. Shaquille Griffin, you come and lock him up for 4 years. Let him grow in the system. Let this kid shine here. And you'd also draft another cornerback, maybe in the 4th round. And I'm not going to say that you're going to get a stud, but think about L'Jarius Sneed this year for the Kansas City Chiefs. If you guys can get somebody even close to that value and plug him in next to, if James Pierre can't do it, you plug him in on the other side of Shaquille Griffin, instant starter, see what he can do. Maybe James Pierre steps up this year and becomes that guy. Weak side linebacker. I mean, you got Robert Spillane to re-sign him. Let's see what he can do. If he can't do anything, you can still draft a weak side linebacker just in case if he doesn't pan out for you fellas. But look at this team. Young team. You still got great receiving core. You had a great running back. Now you build a line. You built an offensive line now, right? You're improving with Jackson Carman. You're bringing back Matt Filer. You don't have 2 question marks. You have 1 question mark. You can still draft a center, right? I'm not throwing out names yet. You guys will have to wait for our mock drafts. And when we break down the Steelers free agency video coming up soon, probably in a few days, 20-ish days or so. But that's something that you got to look at. Now you got a good O-line. You got a great receiving core. You plug in Mason Rudolph. You plug in the rookie Najee Harris to run behind a good offensive line. You were lackadaisical this year with running back. Najee Harris can come in and be a starter day 1 and perform. Mason Rudolph will be a decline, but now you have the offensive line for Najee Harris to perform behind. This slide, Najee Harris ain't performing much. Your whole right side of the line, beside David DeCastro, is weak. Jerron Jones and Okafor, if you do an inside zone, you're probably going to struggle. Now, you're not going to struggle so much. You can take it to the outside, you'll be fine. You can take it back on a counter to the left side or run a zone to the left side, and you'll be fine. Your receiving core is great. Your defensive line's not losing a beat, right? You're losing Bud Dupree this year, but Alex Highsmith needs to step up. But compared to this roster, it's the same. The only thing that you're changing is your cornerback scenario, and maybe you draft somebody that can fill in. I can guarantee you Mike Tomlin's a great head coach, and he's not going to let this team fall below 8-8 if you were to do this. Again, it's not really realistic. This is just a potential hypothetical option if Big Ben decides to pack it in or the Steelers look to move on. But again, it's something fun to do, and I wanted to give you guys this option, and I want to hear what you guys think about it. Let me know what you guys think, what one you would choose to do, and what one do you think they're going to do? I think they're going to choose a play it out mode, but this one I would choose to do, get younger, get stronger, and have that team save that cap room, have $2.3 million left over this year, and then you'll have over probably $100 million next season. Jackson, anything else that you want to mention?
All I'm going to say is that I would absolutely go with the rebuild mode, but I think the play it out mode is obviously most likely going to happen. Again, this team is in the hunt for a Super Bowl. I mean, this team has got to win a Super Bowl this year, or at least get there with Big Ben's possibly his last year. But I would probably go with the rebuild mode, but the play it out mode is probably what's going to happen.
Absolutely. I mean, if you do play it out mode, and that's realistic, that's honest, let's stay here now, okay? This team needs to win. Big Ben's not going to be around much longer. Joe Hayden's not going to be, he's getting up there in age. Steven Nelson's 20, I'm pretty sure. I'm not saying they're all old, but Stephon Tuitt, Cameron Hayward, this team needs to win now. They need to win now. Anything besides the Super Bowl with the team that we saw last year is a bust. It's Super Bowl or bust with the play it out mode. If they fail, you'll see Big Ben retire. right? David Castro's going to be getting up there in age. Stephon Tuitt's going to be getting older. Cameron Hebbers going to be getting older. Now, then it will be rebuild mode where now you're looking like something like this. That's just the reality. So a Super Bowl or bust. Let's see what the Pittsburgh Steelers can do this year. Let us know what you guys think. We'll be around. We got to cover all 32 teams, salary cap situation. Again, we might be off into a few areas. Let us know. Correct us. Don't argue with us. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know what moves you guys would make if you were the GM. This was just an idea. We got to cover a few more teams yet. The whole NFC, the AFC, I'm pretty sure now we're officially done with 2 divisions. As we hop into the final 6 divisions, we'll be doing that every day at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Besides that, we got free agency. We're going to talk about free agency after this series, and then we're going to start a scouting analysis and share it with you guys, and then we're going to do our mock drafts finally, probably sometime in late February. Stay tuned. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to Top Notch Sports. I'm Nick, and that's
Jackson.
Thank you. We'll see you guys soon. Jackson, we are
Built better.
See you guys soon. Peace.